I'm on the 1 minute chart here, and somebody called me this morning and asked me, well, they said they had a dilemma, and it was about their day trading, I'm assuming, because they are going to use the 3 pip stop and they're going to trade the euro dollar, and they wanted to know the cost of trading. So here I'm on this Turnkey FX, never heard of it, but I'm running the demo. If I go to my trade history here, I can see that they're charging me a commission. Now, the guy that called me is trading this size here. He wants to trade a half a standard lot. But just for the math to be a little bit more, what do they call it, metric. That's what they call metrics. And he was speaking metrics, and I know they have metrics over there because we have inches here in the States. It's a little rugged. But the metric thing, I wish we would have switched metric because it's so easy to think in 10. So I'm going to use 100K as the basis. And I'm going to assume that if it costs $4.40, it's going to cost me about $10. So I'm going to put slippage in there. So what is the cost of trading in and out on a standard lot if the price never moved? So when he presented the dilemma to me, he claimed it was a dilemma because he was trying to figure out the cost of his trades. So I asked him a few questions, and that didn't go too well. I asked too many questions, I think. But my first question was, is it a fixed pip spread or is it floating? And that kind of doesn't matter, because if it's fixed at 1 pip, the broker's going to have to move the mark. The quotes are going to come in, and there's going to be enough movement that you might as well have a floating spread. Now, the idea of the floating spread is that if you only trade during liquid sessions where everybody's tugging at the price and it's a tight spread, that you're gonna not get kicked out. So the cost, he's putting a 3 pip stop on, let's just say, a standard lot. He's down $30, plus he's down the spread, which is a pip. We're just gonna put slippage in there, and then you're down $10 for the commissions. So when you pull the trigger on a standard lot, you're down $20 out of the gate. You got $30 left before they stop, before they trounce you, and you're down $50 now. Now what you got to do is go back in the market. So he says to me, well, I get stopped out of that. And then this is also presupposing, mind you, and everything goes on top of something else in the smart. And in any endeavor you have, it's if you built a car that goes 180 miles an hour, let's not assume that it could be a toy car. It could be a slot car, a 30-second scale slot car. And you can say, see, I tricked you. Everything's related to everything else. What is the cost of his trading? Now, he's assuming his skill level is up to par. He can trade with a 3-pip stop. Although he did want to trade on the 1-minute chart, which I'm on right now, and I don't understand that. Because you have to be on the 1-minute chart. I didn't even really think about it till we stopped talking. But now that I think in retrospect, everything sinks in. I didn't want to do a video right away because I had to let everything sink in to what I started out thinking is, can I get a free lunch? Is there a way to get a 2.5 pip stop and get really, really good at trading? Well, I suppose with enough methamphetamines, you could probably take yourself up to that level. But you're going to have to be a high frequency trader. And I don't understand it. Why would you want to torture yourself with that? This is on just under a 1 pip spread on closing prices on the 1-minute euro dollar. Another thing it was very difficult to explain that if you're paying $20 to pull the trigger, and that's if you got in and out without anything happening and stopped out, you bail on the trade because you realize in the next 48 seconds you're a fucking idiot. Okay, I said I wasn't going to swear. New Year's resolution. Okay, you're like, I'm an idiot. This is a dotted line, is a 2 pip grid. 2. Can you see any setups on here? 1 minute chart. 5 minute chart. That is a 2 pip grid. If you're going to trade with a 5 pip stop, so that's 10 pips, and I'm running, this is a 10 pip grid with a 2 inside. If you're running a 3 pip stop, you're trying to make 10 pips, but you've actually got to see 11 on the chart because the spread is. Another thing is he thought, this expert trader thought that somehow when the spread increased, only the ask went up. The bid and ask go up. The spread gets wide from the ask and the bid basis. The bids are the same across, but when the market goes down, the bid's going to sink down. And I've seen them come together at 0 for a moment. Now, if you're really quick on the draw and you pull the trigger right there, now you're a sniper. So his mentality is that he's a sniper and he's just going to keep shooting, plugging at the market. And here's where the problem came in. When I suggested he take his 50, half a standard lot, and cut that down to a 25. Buy one at the market, because you're so good. Buy 1 pip deep. Right? Why not save $5? Why not build a position? Why not buy every 2 pips for a 40 pip move? Now, he said that another thing, I think he was in denial because he says, well, I have a 3 pip stop and I'm looking, or 5 pip stop, I'm looking to make 20 pips. And I said, oh, okay. And then he said, no. Now, you have to have a trade plan for the scalp. If you try to make scalps turn into swing trades because you're hoping this time it'll be different, a trade plan should be, I get in here, it's all predetermined. And another thing, he's not running on the MT4, so he's trying to set I never know if he's lying because he's changing the story all the time, how he gets in the market. This is difficult. I understand why people charge to teach somebody how to avoid the shipping costs of a trade. So I don't know. It's if you slice your meat too thin, you can't get it onto your sandwich bread. You can't even grab it. There comes a point, a vanishing point. And if you keep on slicing this thin, you better have your finger on the trigger. And you better be getting out of something to pay for the shipping and handling of that object. So imagine you were printing Gartley patterns on a coffee cup. And you got to order for 100 of those. Would you order each coffee cup where the shipping is half the price? Okay. You're spending $20 to pull the trigger. You have a 30 pip stop. 3 pip stop on a standard lot. And this is if nothing goes wrong. The moment you pull the trigger, you may pay another 0.2 of a pip. Are you going to nail the exact low? They say you can't pick a low, so how could you pick a low on a tick chart if you can't pick a low on a weekly? Market's vibrating. Now, you're going to tell me, you're going to take, your total risk is $50, so a third of the price of that trigger pull And this whole trigger pull thing, this is totally insane trading. To think you're going to shoot. I know I saw it in The Karate Kid. He takes chopsticks and he catches flies. But you're honestly going to tell me, I'd love to see these people. Oh, I bought right there. You're going to tell me you didn't take some heat on that? Didn't pull back a half a pip? You mean to tell me you couldn't have got a quarter pip better price? It's psychologically ridiculous. But I wasn't going to go there with him. He claimed it was a metric issue. He wanted performance. He wanted up his size. Better he gets his shooting, bigger the cartridges, bigger the... But when you start to have when you're running a 1 pip stop, and you're going to be taken out, and you got to get the fuck back in and pay that 20 again, you're going to ship... Are you going to sell coffee cups where you got to order each coffee cup? Trading's supposed to be a business. I could not connect with him. This went on for... Eventually, of course, I had to talk over him. He told me to shut up. It was so cute because normally I'd hang up on somebody, but after all the comment abuse on YouTube, I guess I got a thick skin for going against the grain of... Well, we're all lying to ourselves if we think that we're not taking a risk. And if you look up risk, you'll see gambling. But you take a risk just choosing to even do anything. You're alive. You're at a risk of dying all the time. So you're always in risk. You just have to deal with it. And not being able to be wrong. So I asked him, why the 3 pip stop? Explain it to me. Right? Now, if you told me, dude, now it is possible to take a 10-second chart, bar chart, with your finger on the trigger, and you're like, okay, I get in. Yeah, just made $50 in 40 seconds. I just made $50 in 3 seconds. I get that all day long. That makes total sense. But if you're waiting and he was also describing some setup that was so... This is what he said to me. I'm not going to lie to you. This is what he said to me. He said, picture this in your mind. He wouldn't go to the chart with me, and he didn't want to talk about pips, so he went... The market goes down for 6 hours straight on 6 candles down straight. Now it goes up 1 bullish candle in an hour. Then it pauses. Then we're going to drill down to the 5-minute chart and look for an entry. And I said, well, does this 5-minute chart, and hopefully this wasn't during the elections, that when we get to the 5-minute fractal, and we look at that, what if the market's vibrating in a 20 pip range and it's got 5 pip wicks? You might have a problem with that 3 pip stop. So what's the sense in building a gun that you got to order the bullets separate for that gun? Oh, it's not a Glock 19. It's a Glock 1. No, it's a Glock 2. I'm going to split my ticket. If he just would have split the ticket, I would have said, oh my God, thank you, Jesus. And that's why you just, I don't know. I guess you get old, or you just... Then he said, and this was the classic, we've all heard this one, I want to run a 3 pip stop, and I only want to risk 2% of my account. As somehow, all of a sudden, now he's going to pay attention to size, and I could not get him to see size as an issue, and shipping and handling is commissions and spread. And for all the accounts that I made money and blew up without a stop trading, mind you, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I swung trade that stuff. And I said to myself, if they stop me out of this fucker and I'm in 200K, I got to pay commissions all over again. I got to rebuild the whole position that I spent all that time angered trade buying this fucker at the market with no stop. Just looking at the balance going, we got plenty of ammo left. Just I built a 250K position in one case. British pound, 3 days sell off. We've all seen this bullshit. Goes up for 5 days. Quadruple the account. Who hasn't done that trade? And even if it's on a 40-second chart. But I don't know. I realize why people are dishonest when they talk about their trading and why nobody wants to talk about how tight their stop is and they got stopped out, they had to get back in, they fucked. Nobody's talking about how they fuck shit up. So I don't get the, oh, every girl I meet falls in love with me, I gotta, get rid of them with a shotgun. And I don't know. Maybe it's a manly thing. But I had to try to, and I guess it's terrible because I'm so damn critical that I'm asking him, like, well, how are you? I must have tortured the guy to death, but only because I felt like I had to interrogate him. So tell me, why not a 5-pip stop and just split the position? Have you done the math on that? Oh, well, but the probability of getting stopped out of a 3-pip, so he claims he wants to trade in probabilities. You can't have there's no free lunch. So how many trades with a 10-pip stopper do you see on this chart where you could make 50 pips this is a 5-minute chart, so I'm gonna have to wait an hour. But if you buy this trap here, I was always asking the guy, why don't you just place, and I know this is a lot of work, I get it, I had tendonitis, I had to go to tendonitis therapy classes. If this is your buy limit, and I made a tool here, I'm just gonna make this rant about this ridiculous 3-pip stop concept, when I get it if you had 0 commissions and there was no such thing as a spread. Yes, love it, great idea. Now you're paying $30 clean. You can take your $10 and leave. You can take your 20. You can take your 30. All day you're making money, never a losing trade. Okay, I could trade like that. If I didn't have to pay commissions and spread, the moment I'm up in that trade, I could get out. Okay. And you just have your finger on the trigger, and you have to have a profit key, and you're ready to get the hell in and out of that thing. Because you're dancing on a 1-minute chart. How else are you going to do it? Oh, well, I'm looking at the hourly for, oh my God, I'm on a tick chart just going, okay, we're up $800 this morning. Next problem. It's like you're going to ride a motorcycle. You could probably get in one. They don't have driverless motorcycles yet, and there's probably a reason for that. Anyways, but it's just frustrating because I thought he was going to go. I thought he was going to say, I was hoping for that aha moment when he says, you mean to tell me that and I made this tool here to illustrate the issue. This is a triple your money ticket. You're going to buy whatever you set this to, but that's the ratio. You're going to buy 3 standard lots and 3 standard stops. And you could do that, right? You could say, you know what? 5-minute chart. Listen, buddy, I know my shit. Let me tell you something. I just bought that whole thing. But I don't know. This is not what he's thinking. He's thinking like, how can I just take a little chunk out of the market? And mind you, this is risk 50 to make. It's triple your money. Why doesn't he do that? And look at the pip. Look at the. If you place your orders 1 pip away. Oh, geez, now I got to turn this off. So let's go to 1-minute chart, or in the 5-minute chart. So I'm trying to explain to the guy, why aren't you just buying? If you buy a 10-pip, a 5-pip range, right there. You have a 5-pip stop to make 15 pips on this right now. 5 to make 15. It's not good enough. You start buying here, right? As soon as it plunges through, they stop you out. That's a 3K. This is a huge stop. 5 pips. I'm sorry. I got 10 pips. Wait. That's a 10-pip stop. that's a 10 pip stop to make 30 pips. Because you're going to buy this. This is the grid thing that I posted. It's just a copy of the, I guess I'm jumping to the other page here. But this is like you can buy 3, right? With the masters, the ratios are the same, identical. You see the labeling here. Entry 1, 2, 3. The stops correspond to that. Profits are up on top. Buy limit bank. But if the ATR looks like this, you got to have a trade plan that accommodates that. And the guy that he studied with, which is Albert Brooks, is telling him, you got to put a stop in that the market's telling you to put in. You can't say, oh, I'm trading with a 3 pip stop. If you trade a 3 pip stop, you're right here. There's 1, 2, 3. You got to get in, out, in. Now go to the 1 minute chart. This guy should have bought here, but he doesn't trade during the holidays. Now this I find very bizarre. I don't understand. The more I think of it, the more I realize that I guess trading is so personal that he likes amputee chicks and I like nerdy girls. We would not, but we can both say we like girls. It's kind of a bizarre thing to talk about trading with people. Now, I'm not trying to. He said the day before, "You're never going to convince me." I'm just saying, how's what I'm saying about the coffee cup not make sense? Like, if you had to get stopped out of all 3 of these tickets, wouldn't you rather just buy a zone of 5 pips and you get your order? Your first ticket comes right in on the wick there, and you only get filled on 2 of these tickets. But you still made money. I don't get it. Well, who am I to say? People have all sorts of bizarre things going on. So I'll stretch this. No offense to bizarre stuff. But even in this situation here, how about buy a 10 pip zone? I suggested to him. You could buy 3 minis spread over a 10 pip zone. So right here you've got a stop of about 25 pips, looking to make 75 pips. So you buy here. Right. Market comes down. Mind you, this is 100 pips from here. It's all about pips and spreads and commissions. It's really pretty sad. I know those Gartleys look cute, but this is 10 pips. The dotteds are 2s. You're going to run a 3 pip stop and miss out on making 75 pips. All you had to do is realize that where are the stops? You don't want to change time frames. This is a 5-minute chart. There's a bunch of entries here. I asked him also, how many trades are you doing a day? Wouldn't answer. What's your highest trading day? Wouldn't answer me. Then he said, shut up. That was adorable. Shut up. Let me I said, you keep changing the topic, man. But this is it. People don't want to talk about it. I get it. Or this guy. But I think most people, you're not even supposed to, it's not polite to ask people. I never asked him, like, well, how much money are you making? I think that's rude, but if I say, okay, if you tell me the size you're trading, and then you say I'm using a 3 pip stop, and you ask me, well, I got a dilemma here. I'm trying to figure out my cost of doing business. And I just said it's shipping and handling. I mean, isn't it really what it is? So look at this. This is triple your money. And this is the, I'm going to do a separate video for the drop on this thing. But I just wanted to go into this mindset of, I'm really good at entry. I'm so skillful that I put a 3-banger in here. Now, this would be different if he said to me, dude, I did what you said. I'm not trying to win the world over. I'm not saying this is the only way to make money. Maybe you are so fucking good you can pull the trigger right here, babysit the 5-minute chart, and go, bam, I'm in. But why go through that drama when you can see where the lows are? And you don't know how far it's going to pull back, so they stop you out. If you got in here, they stopped you out. What I'm talking about is, if this is a 3K, and this is where he's uncompromising, and I am too. I'm like, listen, I'm either going to learn how to shoot a gun and be a sniper. I'm not going to go out there with a fucking shotgun that's sawed off because I'm so shitty at shooting. But what if you're making money using a shot? What if you're killing people and robbing banks with a shotgun? It turns out that you can be a slob and make money. Well, no. And I know this guy well enough to know that that's totally unacceptable. I think it's unacceptable to his precision. I mean, he literally said, well, didn't want to talk about slippage and listen, every time I ever bought a standard lot now, I don't know, it's cost me $50 to pull the trigger. I pull the trigger and I'm down. The market's, isn't it moving all the time? Jesus. Okay, maybe when it's closed, I would get in, hit the market, and be guaranteed, like that guy said, I'm guaranteed I'll make money in this trade. Guaranteed. Holy God. So here's a top become a bottom. What if you put a 3-banger right there? You made your target, right? You calibrate this to how big of an area you want to buy. So all I do is take the fib tool, and I just change the numbers. So I made this from here to here, as long as this is set at 100, mind you. This is going to be a 50 pip stop. This is what I'm building. The other thing I'm going to publish is a 50 pip stop to make 150 pips. And it covers a 20 pip range and a 10 pip range. So it really looks like this. 3 tickets, and this took a long time to figure out. You have to count 0 as your first ticket. So where you drop the grids, the point of the cursors here. But wouldn't you rather just do this trade where you just go, you know what? I don't really know. What if I buy for the next 20 pips down? And I'll get filled on 2 tickets. And the profits were never met. Because the take profit's way too high up there. So the thing is to have, say, 3 different trade plans. I just heard a guy on the radio. Now, this is on a very conservative radio station, AM. And the guy's a business guy. And I'm listening to this guy from a trading mindset, and he says, you need 3 plans. You need a go-to plan. You always knows makes money. Now, this is the tchotchke shit at the checkout. And the thing that was disturbing me about this guy, business plan on the radio guy this afternoon, is he never gave you a real-world example. So all these floating abstractions, my brain's trying to connect it to some metaphor, and I'm like, holy God. I'm going to punch this guy like I'm going to punch Stapleton. And he says, you need just a guaranteed people are going to come in for their water and their beer. And then you need your, I hope it's going to make a ton of money. That's your kind of romantic, well, I got this clever idea. And then there's the one that's a conservative one. That probably is a high volume thing that always makes money. It's just this thing where they say if you go to a hotel and you eat in the restaurant, you're paying for the rooms they don't rent. So it's made up somewhere. And they get 90% occupancy in a hotel. They're breaking even. Like, I mean, the taxes, it's ridiculous, right? And so there's a business plan guy on the radio. And he's making sense to me. I'm thinking, yeah, this is what it's told by Mark Douglas. 3 tickets you're in. You got 1 to pay for the commissions of all 3 tickets. You take that one off the table. Now you're Now you can breathe. Now you can fucking take some hits. It literally like having 2 bullets in your gun, and you got to go for another gun in another holster. And another thing, I just think he's lying about this. He says, well, that's just, it doesn't bother me to lose 50 bucks, 30 bucks. He's trading a half, so it's 30 bucks. So it's, God, I'm pissed off when I lose a penny. I'm like, I'm fucking trading like shit today. If you're day trading, if you're really a scalper, how many tops and bottoms are there on a 5-minute chart per day? 40? Did you trade every top that became a bottom here? Now I wanted to ask the guy, are you taking these trades? I'll babysit you through this real-time live. I'll tell you when to buy and sell. I'll tell you when to put a buy limit in there. I say, you got your finger on the trigger? I said, look at this crush down here. You'd have a basket of, you could go out and get hammered at the bar. Every 2 pips, you got a mini. You got to stop down here. You want to pay commissions on buying that all over again? You didn't even get filled. Put a 2K on every 2 pips. It's not enough money for you? You got sell limits to start here to go the other way. Yin and yang. You want to trade 100K? Place and then he took this class for $89 a month. I was making fun of it. It's still ridiculous. They don't know what a bid and ask is. And they're saying take 20 trades. Look at your metrics. That's ridiculous. Metrics. If I'm not making money at the end of the week, I'm like, I'm a fucking loser. I'm a fucking idiot. Who's walking around going, oh, it's just a process. Who says that? Process-oriented trade. Yeah, I'm a masochistic process-oriented trade. In other words, I know I'm going to get stopped out. It's just, I know I'm going to have to pay shipping and handling. And I can't, when I have to order something, what if the price of coffee cups go up and the price of shipping goes up because all these fucking idiot tariffs? Now they're scanning bags with a damn, I don't know. And what if the market conditions change and all of a sudden the spread's just nuts? What if the ATR is nuts and you don't have a trade plan because you're running a 3-pip stop? But I'm only saying all this because I guess if the old saying is if you're going to do something, you might as well do it right. So it's an all or nothing thinking. Probably not the best thinking in the world, but let's face it, the people that have said, no, we're going to do this till it's right, are the people that built buildings that didn't fall over. The people that said, yeah, whatever, it's close enough. Okay. Then there's the Titanic, which is fascinating because they're like, dude, this is unsinkable. Forget about it. And I say the Titanic is definitely the story of you're going to take a scalp and turn it into a swing trade. And believe me, who wouldn't want to get in with a 3-pip stop and make 150 pips? But how many times are you going to get stopped out and keep taking a hit, even with a 10-pip stop? Not to mention, you didn't want to think about, I keep trying to entertain people with the idea you need another account to trade on. You cannot just trade with one broker. Let's get one broker. What if that broker goes bankrupt? I don't know. I don't get it. Who has one supplier for their stuff? You have no backup plan? That's key one. Backup plans. This is why 95% of, so I asked them, the old 95% of traders lose. You know why? 95% of people can't run a business. They are ordering a coffee cup one at a time. Oh, yeah, well, we don't have enough money to buy a bunch of coffee cups, so we're just going to, yeah, well, accept the risk or whatever, plan it out, get inventory, have a blue coffee cup, a green one, whatever it is. Now, if your special orders come in, then you're going to take the hit, right? I rarely do this for you. You're a high volume customer. That's the slippage, right? Return broken items, slippage. Not doing a customer evaluation. A customer comes in and he's got missing teeth and he looks like he's on meth. And he signs your credit form and he walks out with a $1,000 train for Christmas. Okay, you might take a hit on that, right? And that might be your schlocky broker. Your broker, turns out your broker's doing illegal stuff. God forbid, right? People do illegal stuff. Anything can happen, and it only takes one person to step in the market and destroy your 3-pip stop. How big of an order has to come in to give you this wick and blow you out? And are you going to hit the trigger again and get right back in? So say you bought here and they bounce you out. You'd be like, I fucking know this trade, damn it. And I didn't put limits in here. I'm just a fucking, right? I don't know. Here's a perfect bottom becomes a top right on the clock, but you got to be sitting there with your finger on the trigger going boom. And you just made your 20 pips. Now that, you could have hand placed orders there with a 2-pip stop. So I can even go do his 3-pip stop. What if you placed orders in like this? 1 pip apart. 1 pip apart. And see what happens. I'm just trying to... He wasn't even willing to trade a demo. Now, if this guy was if I was to actually, and this is the first time I can understand why people charge now. I'm getting it. I just figured it out. They're not charging. I understand. Staples is not charging to rip you off. It's so that he can afford a padded cell that he can go and scream in. When he hears, I guess I'm like that Tom Dante trader. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You won't even discuss sizing? Why wouldn't you trade? And he couldn't answer the question. Why don't you just trade 5 mini lots and buy every fucking pip it drops? And put a stop of 10 pips on it, man. But the market wasn't open, and I couldn't, oh boy. But it was fun. It's because when I hear that, I remember when I used to think like that, and I still do every day. Every time I buy at the market, I go, you're an idiot. I have to sometimes because I'm just going to buy a little bit, though. Because I know as soon as I buy at the market, you know what's going to happen? They're going to come down 2 pips and fill my buy limit. So I'm only, when they see my order come in, they go, he's in? Okay, pull it back. And it's, the more it pulls back, the more spring we're loading for a cut to the north. And once everybody gets that moment of, uh-oh, sellers aren't coming in, on the 5-minute chart, you've got a window. And this is, I'm trying to answer this guy on the son of this video, believe it or not. Link to this thing. This is what I see on this chart. And this is my free crash course, and don't ask me how I do it. Like that one guy, don't ask me how I do it. But you've got to have your finger on the trigger, and you got to have a hotkey ready to go. You can't be clicking because your right hand is your take profit key. So I don't know how you like in a manual state, if you're in a trade, you would come over here and just get out. There's a guy on the internet. I'll put the link to the bottom of here because let me republish this thing. He's trading with no stops. He's trading anything from half a standard lot to 400K, 4 standard lots or something, and he's trading at the market. He's down like 1,400 out of the gate. He's gonna make up that 1,400, and he makes like $5,000 and $15,000 and gets out. And so you got your hand here, and you've got one hand. Your left hand's on the buy button. I'd say if you're really seriously gonna do it, and your right hand's on the I'm getting the fuck out. And if you can sense that you're wrong and admit you're wrong, every millisecond that's rolling by, you get out. And it's going to cost you $20 to bail. Now this is the 1 minute chart, so let's be realistic. Okay. What he's saying is, what I don't understand is that when somebody says they want to trade with a 3 pip stop, I'm like, why don't you just trade in Asia? I mean, yeah, the spread's a little bit bigger, but hell, you're already getting your ass kicked, right? This is 2 pip. If you had a 2 pip stop, but mind you, if the spread's 1 pip, I don't have a 1 pip grid up here. I should. You can see here, even if you, let's just go to current, so we don't be looking back. Let's go to current. What's the trade? What's the next trade? So the spread's probably going to tighten up a little bit when it opens. What is the last trade you missed on this chart for a painfully obvious retest of the apex of a triangle? The last trade of the day, from a trendline standpoint on the 1 minute chart. Now, this is going to go into a little bit of analysis, but we can all see this is a downtrend. And if you really are a scalper, and like I said, the guy that I'm talking about, he wants to run 3 pip stops, so I'll show you how to do that. You're gonna need a buy and a take profit. So you got your finger here to get out, whatever you're winning, and you've got a predetermined buy at the market with a stop of 3 pips, 3 pips in this guy's case, and you've got that set to, mind you, a mini K. Now here's the trick. This is for the guy that wants to trade the 5 minis stacked in one ticket. Right now, you sell 1. If it goes up and you don't want to place a limit up there, you wait till it goes up and sell another one. And you just keep selling. If you think it's a sell. Or you place a sell limit up here and just walk away, because you know you can scalp off of that. And maybe you put a crop up there. Maybe you put a 1K up there just to psychologically get used to the idea of not having to be there. Could you have made... Now, mind you, with a 3 pip stop, if you can make 6 pips, you just doubled your money. But you got to really have the market go 7.5 pips to make up for the spread, or 8 pips to make up for the spread. So if you just kept on, every time we get to this trend line, this was the setup. This is the only viable setup on the 1 minute chart, because it came there. You had a minute or 2 minutes to pull the trigger, or you just had a sell limits up there. Every 2 pips, you got sell limits. Whatever fills, when they kick it back up, if you've got a 3 pip stop on there to make 6 pips, then you made your money. You're continually making your money here. Now, you pull the trigger here on, say, a 25K. Wait another minute. It's still there. Pull the trigger again. Slightly different prices. One might be better than the other. Diversify your risk. You're going to canvas an area. So if you're selling vacuums door to door, I know they used to walk around door to door and sell shit. Now you knock on somebody's door, you might get your head blown off, but a guy didn't walk around with one model. He came in with attachments and everything. So you need all this You need to have a bunch of stuff. How is he going to sell? Some people only want to buy a broom. They're like, I can't afford that. Electrolux, just give me the kind of thing I can just like a dustbuster. Well, that's how he's making his money. He's selling 20 dustbusters. He's selling one big ticket item. I mean, I can understand a max limit, but why don't you just hit the key like a monkey? Just go, sell, sell, sell. Every time it goes up there. If you're a sniper, how about you're killing more than one? Don't snipers do better if they kill more people? See, you can't just have one bullet and one target. You've got 50 single bullets and you got 50 targets. Now that's a contest. You got to be right on every trigger pull. And here was the painfully obvious. Bottom becomes top, 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 top. And what's this look like is this coiling action. This is all classic charting jargon. Before people had these delicious Gartleys that look like Christmas cakes cut in bizarre shapes, we had the good old-fashioned, well, what is that? Well, it's a coil. See, it's like a triangle thing. It's going to break out. It's in a 2-pip range. Holy God. Well, gee willikers, I missed the move. Maybe I should put my order at the breakout point. I could put a fat order here with a 2-pip stop. But the market's got to go below that black line by 1 pip to fill that. So it's actually a 1 pip stop. If I put my order, and it looks, this is why anything, for you to get it filled at the bid, the ask only got to here. You never got filled on that. You had to buy up here because the spread is this. If you put your buy limit at the apex of this, El No Filo. So who's the better trader? The guy that stacks in 5Ks 1 pip apart with a master stop, cashes out at the logical trap zone, or the guy that says, I know I got kicked out of these things and I bought here and they stopped me out because you had to pay. It's invisible on here, but don't forget, when the market was closing here, you paid this price. You put in a 3-pip stop. You just got stopped out of that, and you never made it up to here. And I don't know what. I still don't know to this day what he's trading. He claims it's Albert Brooks, but what does Albert Brooks make of this 1-minute chart? If you're really good at trading, you can see that this whole time here, you're buying new lows in a 4-pip zone, and the sellers are supposed to come in here at that channel, and it's supposed to keep going down, but that does not happen. Blam. 6 pips the other way. If you have a 3-pip stop, you're making 6 pips. But maybe it's going to run longer. Maybe it really will go nuts. And you'll be pissed off because your targets weren't 50 pips with a 10-pip stop. But that is just, you cannot dial something in that tight. And if I go to the 5-minute chart, are you serious? Are you going to trade that? Given all the past data, are you really going to trade this little walk down here? Or are you going to look at the 5-minute chart, which you claimed he was running the 1 hour, the 5-minute? You don't need to go to the 1 hour chart. Trade the chart you're on. That's what people do anyways. All these videos, they go, well, let's drop down to the trading chart. So the fact that the market went down or went up doesn't matter shit for your setup. It doesn't matter. It's inconsequential. And stop with the candlesticks, people. Why don't you just trade the top bottom on the 5-minute? This is the 5-minute closing of the euro dollar for the end of the year. Bottom becomes a double top sell. Bottom becomes a top sell. Bottom becomes a top sell. Now this is where you have to be asking yourself, how long is this beautiful? And mind you, that was built off the closing prices on the 1-minute chart. Does this the top become a bottom? Now if you're really scalping like that, you need a 1-minute chart on this panel maybe and a 5-minute in the rearview mirror. 1 hour in the rearview mirror ain't going to cut it. You're dreaming about the swing trade then. You're dreaming about the 40 pip winner with the 10 pip stop. And I say you're dreaming because look how many times you get trounced before we really come down and trap these guys and really rip their faces off. And where does that come down to? The nifty little 5, the top of a, that's a real pivot. A pivot means the market turned around, went the other way. A pivot is not a floor pivot. Stop with the floor pivot bullshit. Selling courses on that. That should be illegal. It's fucking inconsequential. The market makes its own structure. Here, I just blew my New Year's resolution. God in heaven, man. So I'm buying this new low. That's my trade. I buy that, they go up. High probability there'll be fake breakouts. Here you're selling. You already cashed out. This thing could gap open down here in no man's land and go right to Memphis. And you're right at the critical zone right now on the euro overall. Well, I hope that wasn't too painful for the to answer the question of the dilemma of what is the cost of trading. And I'd say purely the cost of trading is in and out with the market not moving. That is shipping, return the object, you never opened it, you never bought it, you don't have to make a payment. But if you should, if you're going to put the contents, the total value of the contents, which would be the stop, just the risk. So I'm treating the coffee cup as the risk, and the shipping and handling is commissions and the spread. If you look at it like that, and these are foreign exchange markets, they're not foreign investing markets. So the only way you're going to make money is if you get in and out and you exchange these gifts of pips with people or banks. And the liquidity's there. It's definitely tighter. Now, this guy was also trading the British pound, but he claimed he was making more money with the British pound. Obviously, it's more volatile. The spread's worse. There is no free lunch. You can look at the guppy and say, look at this guppy as the pound against the yen. Look at this thing moving 300 pips in 1 hour. The moment you pull the trigger, and now this is really, you have to have a really good broker and you have to be trading really big to get a good deal, but you can't scalp the pound against the yen because you have to make up so much ground out of the gate. But there's enough players in the euro that the spread's tight. And it's fluid. And it's just responding to all the typical vibrations that any object in the universe gets. And that's the claim that people are using to run Fibonacci. It's nature. It's the market's a natural phenomena. Yeah, it may be, but if that's true, then it's its own unique phenomena that you would just plot on top of. You just draw on top of. So you break out that fib tool, you just can't. I'm using my fib tool as a risk, as an order entry ticket thing. I just converted the whole thing and used it as it's a pain in the ass to rename it. Create all those little things, but this is so I can build these tickets before the market opens. I want to put in the comment section of the drop grid thing. Let's call it grid drops. Multi-grid drop right to your cursor tip. So you can put an order in like that you can make money. So I asked the guy, why don't you boot up MT4 platform? No. This is a geeky business. You have to be computer sort of literate. And you just got to work on that. You got to have, you don't got to. You could just go and put your money in Charles Schwab or whatever. Put it in the bank. Here's a beautiful pivot right on the clock, bottom, top. Here's the trap. So you're going to buy right here on limits for the next 10 pips with a 5 pip master stop and ride it up into this. It's trap to trap. It's just buy, sell, buy. And you may at the end of the day have traded 150K on 30Ks, 30K up, 20K down. You have to be a little bit, that's the hard part. I think this is where the work comes in. In other words, going back to the coffee thing, if you're selling coffee cups and you can have exotic patterns, now you can just say, you know what, I got a uniform coffee cup, but I'm going to follow a trend. Lately, people want to have like big breasts with small nipples on the cups, whatever it is, whatever that bizarre. And you could start a trend. Remember this? I don't know if you remember smiley faces, but that was in the 70s, and everywhere you went, smiley faces. I think this is when people were like, you know what? We're just so fucking happy. We're going to have a yellow smiley face. I don't know what happened there. You don't see that a lot. But that would be your kind of like, oh, that we got a good run on that. But for most people, they're like, if they have a coffee cup that says I'm with her, they're like, oh, I'm good. I'm good with that. You have to accommodate that kind of market thing, which is, I would say, just a nice, and some people will love this channel drift. They're like, I'm happy just to plug along and make a few pips when it explodes like that, and they blow out their 2 pip stop and their 3 pip stop. They're like, okay, I'm done for the day. I'm good to go. Now, I'm not saying the guy's not in that category of lifestyle. I can tell you I'm not. When I see a big zigzag on the screen, all I can think of is, how can I get in on these trades that are just wacky? Like, can I run a moving average that fits the 5, but then it doesn't fit the other, and it's kind of whipsawed. It's kind of whippy-sawed. God, man, I mean, isn't that the problem? And this was supposed to be support, and it was for a little bit, and then it wasn't. But if you bought everything from here, you could have cashed out of something there, and you could have cashed out a little bit along the way here. And by the end of the day, had you waited through that whole swing, and I guess as the patient parts comes in, this is a 5-minute chart. Still, it takes a ton of patience, because don't forget when it's up here and you want to buy it and you're like, oh yeah, I'll come. And you have to wait for them to come back here to fill your buy limit. And it turns out that it's not going to keep going. They're done for the day. So last Friday and this Friday, same story. Trap everybody in the wicks. Here's the Thursday bar. Here's the Friday bar. And it finishes in the middle. Anybody seen that pattern? So you've seen all these. When you see a bar chart look like this, you got to know, inside there, if that's the daily chart and it just looks like garbage, on the 5-minute chart, it's a gold mine. Because there's so many nooks and crannies in here and so many voids filling up. If you're just looking for the sheer void of it all, not to mention if you're just sitting there hitting the sell key like an idiot, the sell stop or the sell at the market, sell, sell, sell. Oh, stop selling as soon as it starts coming down. Stop selling. Stop hitting the sell key. You trade like that. But the fear and greed of trading with a 3 pip stop, when You should trade that on a demo and just get really, really good. If you're really going to be a sniper, you have to put your gun together blindfolded, I think. You have to... Your skill has to be so good with a 3-pip stop, doesn't it? Especially if you're swing trading, right? Position trading with a 3-pip stop. Can you imagine? Anyways, that's my answer, and it's probably only a tip of the iceberg, because in the end it's about the willingness to experiment with a demo account. Throw out everything you know. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to let go because they, well, don't keep changing stuff. You've got to be consistent. And he did say this, and it was a long conversation. And I said, well, consistently losing doesn't help. Being consistent isn't always a good idea if you're consistently stupid. And he laughed as if to say, well, naturally, I mean consistently winning. But let's not assume any of that, because your subconscious doesn't discriminate. When it hears consistent, it says, well, you're consistent. You're the same idiot you were, same angry trader you were last week. I'm like, yeah, but I'm working around it, right? I'm using that to my advantage. And this idea that you're going to trade like Spock from Star Trek, ridiculous, right? If you're angry, take it out on the demo. Take it out on a limit order. Go, come and get me. Come and get me. This is the way I look at it. I'm in the brakesman ship. Come on. Really? Let's see. Where's your stop? Oh, I put my stop here. Yeah, oh, really? Great. Okay, I bought it off you. And maybe that is the real breakout. And when it gets to here, since this is the floor pivot from here, and when I say floor pivot, I mean the floor of this. Not those stupid floor pivots. It's the doji pivot brought forward. Sellers are likely to come in for a few pips, naturally. That's why you get all this zigzag stuff. But my God in heaven, man. I mean, are you that good? You're sitting there with a preloaded trigger. The cost of trading. I'm going to figure out my cost. And certainly, a 13-pip stop was out of the question. Unwilling to change the size of the gun. I think a 22. Give me a 22 and a 9mm. I'm looking at guns. I'm thinking, no, give me a 22, because I want to have that. Then if the guy turns out to be a wildebeest, I want to have the Magnum. Give it to me all. They're all loaded. That would be the swing account. So your 44 Magnum, that's your position trading account. The 22 is your scalping. And the 9mm is your intermediate time frame swing trade. But all your eggs in one basket, been proven to be wrong time and time again. And the it's just, but it's just fun. And normally I've gotten in fights with traders. You can imagine, right? And I guess I've known this guy long enough. I didn't hang up when he said shut up. But I've had people that literally, because if you tell me that you're a race car driver, and I say, well, how many cubic, I start asking you stuff. And, oh, I'm just saying I am. And then, I don't know, people make outrageous claims. And then you're like, oh, okay, so can you explain that to me again? Like, it's like a flat earther. Explain to me again how the earth's flat. No, I'm listening. I am going to question as I go along. I'm going to question. But anyways, that's my 2 cents about the cost of trading with a 3-pip stop.